Alright, as you read from the title, this is how to properly maintain and maintenance your high points. And I get this question a lot, and a lot of guys see my videos, and they ask me, well, how do you personally, how do you keep your high points clean? So I'm going to just go over a couple things, and I'm going to give you some insight, some little helpful pointer tips to help you save some money. A lot of people overspend on maintenance in their firearms. I'm going to show you as a gunsmith. I learned from a lot of old school guys, and back then there wasn't all the products that's out here today. And quite honestly, when you're buying these products such as oil and cleaners and stuff, nothing much has changed. They just basically are just rebottling the same stuff with different labels on it. So I'm going to go over that. Excuse me. And then also going to go over, I read a lot, and I follow the high points a lot, and there's tons of guys out there that say, well, part of the issue is you really have to keep the high points clean, and also run like high quality, top of the line ammunition. And I'm pretty sure if you're new to my page or my channel, you can go back in and you'll see that this particular high point here, I'm pushing close to 4,000, if not over, rounds through this gun, of nothing but steel. I've only shot, I think, 14 rounds of brass through this gun at all. I feel guilty when I run expensive ammunition through a lower end firearm, just because I kind of look at it in the aspect of, you would not buy a Geo Metro and the manual says that you have to run 93 octane through it. So you just bought a cheap car and now you have to run top of the line fuel through it. And the same thing, I look at this the same way. So let's begin, and I'm going to give you some pointers too to help keep your firearm up and going. So first things first, always double check, triple check. If you have somebody else around that you can also have check your firearms to reinsure that it is safe. I suggest, even in your magazines, unload them, get the ammunition away from your cleaning table, just to eliminate anything. I mean, we all know that bullets ain't magically going to jump in there, but for safety's sake, let's just keep all the ammunition away. So I'm going to put this up. I am going to show you how to maintenance your magazine as well to keep your high point running. So after I double check, triple check, firearm is safe. You come over onto this side of the gun. You notice you got your and for you guys that are experienced firearms, this is going to be more for your beginner stuff. So you notice you got your safety. Then you also have this notch here. You're going to pull the slide back to the end, to the back, far back as you can, and you're going to insert your safety lever up into that notch. That's going to hold your slide in position to get inside here, and there's going to be a pin, and you have to drift this pin out. There's no particular way. I mean, you could drift it from this side to this side. It's just as a gunsmith, I do them the same way all the time. So I suggest too, if you're going to own this firearm, and you plan on keeping it for a while, there's some things you're going to want to invest in. This is just, I bought this punch set at Walmart. It was like $5 or $7 for the kit, and you'll find yourself using these more now that you have them. This is just an 1/8 inch pin punch. That's all it is. Nothing special. But it's really going to help you. You try to use nails and stuff like that, it just makes it hard. So you're just going to get that in there. You're going to need a hammer. And no matter how much I prepare for my videos, I always end up leaving something behind. So punch, you're going to need a good hammer. Get a couple cracks on it, and then what I do from there is I just put my finger underneath of it to help wedge it up, and you'll feel the pin drift out. Once you start getting to that point to where you can tell it's going, you know, you just start light tapping it till it comes through. And from there, get your punch out. So you got your pin came out. You're going to want to put that off to the side, someplace out of the way that you're going to remember, because you do not want to lose that. And after you do that, here's what I recommend. Okay, if you do have your mag safety still in there, which you know, I suggest you get it out. But if you do have it in there, I mean, you can reach up with your finger and push it up out of the way, or you can insert a magazine if you feel comfortable. But I suggest dry fire. Reason why I suggest dry fire is because if the firing pin is cocked back, your firing pin and springs are under tension, and when you go lift this up, they do take a chance of flying across the room, and you can lose them. I've heard from numerous guys that they fly across the room and you never find them. So once you do that, you're going to, I always still put my finger over the retainer back here. It's just the habit that I do. So once you do that, you're just going to pull the slide about yay far. You'll just feel it. And at the same time, you're just going to lift up. And see, you didn't hear that firing pin slap or crack or anything like that. And it just comes off so much easier doing it that way. So now what you have is your frame, your recoil spring, and now you got your slide, your retainer, same thing. You're going, and how I do it, I'll put them off over here, and I'll actually, and this is a good tip for beginners, and just lay them in the order on which they came out. So that way, whenever you you know, if you ever have any doubts, you know, and if you want, put your pin inside the retainer and keep it in there, keep it in that location. But what I'm going to do, and this is another little inside trick, any kind of container, this is just filled with rubbing alcohol. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pin and my spring, and you know, I could put my retainer in there, but I'm not. And I'm just going to let that set. And just over the counter rubbing alcohol you buy at Walmart or Dollar Tree. You know, pinch and pennies here. What it does is going to clean that and leave it dry. So now what you have is your slide. Normally what I would do from here is I would take my barrel, and what I have here is, this is just a spray bottle that actually some gun cleaner came in, and I just peeled the label off when I was done, and I have it filled up with ATF, automatic transmission fluid, with detergent in it, and it's an excellent cleaner. When I buy my firearm, I will initially use a degreaser to get all the factory oil and crap out of it, but once I do that, I never use a degreaser again. I always clean with some kind of oil product, so that I'm cleaning with oil product, I'm putting oil product in the gun. It helps to get inside your metal and all the cracks and crevices. So if you use oil and then you come back and you use a degreaser and then you have to re-oil again, you're basically just chasing your tail. Whereas what I do is I clean with an oil product, and then I oil with an oil product. So the more I do it, the more it's like a cast iron skillet. But what I would do from here is I would just, I'm not going to because this gun is clean, I would spray some in there and I would let that set. I would take my scrubber, just scrub it a couple times just to even it out inside there, and then I would let that set. And then I would just put it off, let it set. Same thing with my slide. I would take my cleaner and I would just a little bit, take my brush, scrub what needs to get scrubbed, take a dry rag. I like the blue towel rags. because you can wash them and keep reusing them until there's nothing left. But you can use t-shirt material, anything like that. One of the most important parts you're going to want to get on your slide, if I can get a shot, is behind your extractor here. You're going to want to take a pick or anything that you can, your scrub brush, and make sure there's no dirt living behind this extractor and the breech face. Your case is very important. Your casing needs to slide up underneath there and properly get in line for the firing pin hole, and also it's trying to go, the bullet's trying to go into the chamber at the same time. It's trying to slide underneath here, so you can run into some problems if it's dirty. And then what I do from there, I will get all this cleaned, and then what I will do is I bought these from Brownells. They're just oil bottles. What I have loaded up in here is 20 weight Mobil 1 full synthetic. And if you guys know anything about oils, you know that if you're putting it in your engine and it lasts up to 3,000 miles, under extreme conditions, your engine gets up to, majority of your engines nowadays are running about 260 degrees. That's freaking hot. Your gun is never going to get that hot to ever break this oil down. Plus it's synthetic. It goes back to what I was saying about the cast iron skillet. The more you use this, I've got a box of gun cleaning oils and lubricants and everything, and by far this is the best stuff out there. I can take my gun to the range, pump 500 rounds through it, take it apart, it's still wet. And that's what I go for. I don't want an oil that's going to dry up. This will stay wet. Another good thing about it is it's $5 a quart. That's a lifetime supply of oil. You know, and like I said, you know, we're doing this on a budget here. Plus, me being a gunsmith, if I actually used a lot of lubrications that I would pay $5 for this versus $5 for a quart, I would be filing bankruptcy really quick. So what I would do from there is the points of lubrication on my slide, I like to get right here in the muzzle, and I'll just put a little bit there. I'll put a little bit on the inside of the slide, right in there, and then I will take and run a bead down here and a bead down here. I use an oil brush. Same thing, you can buy these by the box at your Harbor Freight, you know, your local Ace Hardware store or something like that. They're just cheap old oil brushes. What I do from there is I spread it all out. Light thin coats. We don't want any blobs of oil. You want to get the whole inside of the slide. The one place you do not, and I've seen people say to do this, and this is wrong. The one place you do not want to get oil is inside here. Inside your firing pin channel. You do not want oil inside your firing pin channel. So what I do after I get that all oiled to my liking, I'll take a Q-tip, I'll dip it into my rubbing alcohol, and I would take my Q-tip and I would just run that channel to reinsure that I did not get any oil or lubricants inside my firing pin channel. Okay? And that's the reason why you don't want oil in there, is because oil will allow dirt to stick. Dirt sticks in your firing pin channel, it's going to slow your firing pin down, you're going to get light strikes on the primer. In a situation where you need to use your firearm, that is not a good scenario you want to be in. At this point, I'm going to take my firing pin spring, get it on out, if I can, of the alcohol. Quick wipe down on the rag. Okay, that's going to clean it, plus it's going to leave it dry. That's what we want. We want our firing pin and our firing pin springs dry. I can't stress that enough. You never, on any firearm, oil your firing pin. Never. There is no case scenario, there is no gun out there that you need to have your firing pin oiled. So that's done. Okay, we cleaned it, we oiled it, we dried the firing pin and everything up. I'm going to put that off to the side. Now we would work on our frame. There again, I'm not going to do it. You would take your brush. You know, you don't need somebody showing you how to run a brush down the barrel. So you would scrub your barrel, and then once you get it all cleaned and dried out by using dry patches until you get all the gunk and stuff out, I will take my oil. I'll put a couple drops on here. Actually, I put quite a bit, and then what I will do from there is I'm just going to run it through just to make sure my rifling, my chamber, it all has a nice thin coat of lubrication in there. It's going to prevent rust, and it's also going to help with your cycling. It's going to help with your extractions, and the more you do this, like I said, the more it becomes like a cast iron skillet. From there, I am going to put, as you can see from this here, you can see where the friction areas are on this. I'm just going to run a bead of oil, and I'm going to run it on the top, I'm going to run it on the sides, I'm going to put a little bit on the feed ramp. And then I'm going to take my oil brush, and we're going to spread all this part all around. Like I said, we don't want blobs of oil, we just want it nicely thin lubrication. Try to get underneath the barrel, on the barrel. I'm going to hit that feed ramp. I'm just going to hit this whole head space here. I'm just going to hit all of that. And then if you want, you know, you can come down through here, and you know, it's your world. You can make whatever you want. I'm just going to do that. Run a little bit down the sides like this. Okay, nice thin. Okay, from there, you're basically done and you're ready for assembly. Your recoil springs, I'm going to tell you, after you hit 1,000 round mark, replace your recoil spring. You will start to get fail to go in batteries where the recoil spring just don't have the ass to shut the slide, to close the breech. And that's just from my experiences, and I've shot these high points a lot. You can, if you want, grab it and stretch it a little bit, but you're basically, it's just like putting a band-aid on something that you need stitches for. So that'll get you by. So what I do from here, how I reassemble the firearm, is I lay the slide down, try to line everything up, and I just push till it drops. Put that in there. Line this up. And that's it. And then, you know, if you want to be picky, make sure your pins are even on both sides. Function test. Okay, you're ready to go. Okay, magazine. You also want to clean your magazines out. Okay, they're no different. Now you don't have to clean them as much as you do the gun, but it is important. And I'm going to go over this because I've been asked when I took my magazine apart in my one video. I guess I did it too quick. You have these two little channels here. When it comes around, you can kind of see there's a slight little hole slot there. Basically what it does, it just the mag plate just clips on there. Take your pocket knife and you're going to get in between the plastic and the metal, and then you're just going to pry it. Okay, it comes off just like that. Okay, set your base plate off to the side, pull your spring out. Always remember your short coil here goes up top, because it's how your follower lives, like that. Okay, you know, clean it out really good. You can put a light lubrication on it, or a lot of times what I do is I just lubricate the spring. But part of maintenance in your gun, after you do my tune, your springs are going to be strong, but you're still going to want to do this. Take it, stretch that spring out. Okay. you'll know if you're stretching too far. You know, you obviously don't want to stretch it to the point where, you know, the spring ain't no good no more. So you're going to stretch that spring out. Okay. Remember on which way it goes. You're going to reinsert your spring. You're going to make sure through here that your spring is where it needs to be. Making sure that the back part of your coil here is going to go around that round tab. You're going to get it on there like so. Bring it down. And there you go. And like I said, you're going to make sure when you're looking through here that your coils of your spring is living on the short part is living on this flat part here. And that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it might have helped answer a couple questions. I kind of made this video for a follower of mine named Corey. Been talking to him. He's sending me his gun to tune, and you know, he had some questions and stuff. And I know there's a lot of people. I get a lot of questions on it, but I just never really had a need to kind of make this video. I just kind of thought, well, you know, it's the stuff that you got to learn. But also, you know, sometimes I forget that, you know, at one time I didn't know anything. You know, at one point in time, you know, and I actually had to learn it on my own. But, you know, I did have some stuff that was taught to me. I hope that helped. I also suggest that you never carry a dirty gun. These guns run great, dirty and wet. So if this is just a range gun for you, you know, basically you can blow it out with some Remy oil and put it up. And especially if you know that the only time you're going to use this gun is, you know, a week from now, and you're just going to go to range and just shoot it. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't worry about cleaning it too much. They'll run good, wet, and dirty. But if you're going to carry this gun, I don't suggest carrying any firearm that is dirty. And I cannot stress that enough. In my line of business, I don't know how many guys will pull their firearms out to show me, and there's dust bunnies and dirt and all kinds of crap built up in it, and they're carrying that gun. So I don't suggest, you know, you ever carry a dirty gun. But if it's a range gun, you know, I mean, who cares? You get to go home if you have a jam at the range. You know, at a gas station, 3 o'clock in the morning, you have a jam when you're needing it for defense. You know, you might not make it home to your family. So another pointer on these guns is after, I don't know, I'm going to say 500-600 rounds of just cleaning, like what I just showed you here. And that don't mean like 500. It means like, you know, if you shot at 50 rounds and then you cleaned it, and you shot another 50 and then you cleaned it. After you get about 500 rounds, I do suggest a full strip cleaning out, you know, and get all the stuff out of the sear. Basically break it down to where the only thing left in your gun is your trigger and your rear sight, and do a full detail cleaning. And that's my recommendations on how you keep your high points running. Like I said, I got a Facebook page that you guys can come over, and I do sell these magazines. Plus, I do offer my services where you can send your high points and have me go through them. If you have any questions that I might not have covered in this video, you know, feel free to leave a comment. Please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up. Come join me on Facebook. It's a safe place where, you know, your business, you know, it's not out there with any, you know, everybody to see, unless you want to write on the wall or something like that. And you know, you can talk to me personally. It's a lot quicker than email. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you might have took something away from this video. And like always, stay safe.